Hello there, Pursuing Freedom friends and community. Thanks for tuning in today. This is your host, Erin Bradley, and I'm so excited to have Gabby Proctor with us today. I met Gabby at a conference not too long ago in Austin, and that's where she is a top producing real estate agent on a team with her husband. She's an investor, a flipper, a mom. She's done triathlons. She's a host of a real estate podcast called Real Estate Talks. And in the 5 to 20 minutes we probably spent talking to one another in Austin, it just became apparent we have so much in common. We've been coming up in the industry along the same trajectory, raising kids, running podcasts, investing in real estate, all the things. And I thought, you have to be on my show. So we waited until the busyness of summer started to dissipate before we got this on the books. But we've been waiting patiently for the last several months. And I'm so excited. The time has come for you all to meet the beautiful Gabby Proctor. So with no further ado, Gabby, tell us a little bit about the backstory, because I know you've been through it all. So bring us up to date on your journey and how you ended yourself in real estate, how you've evolved, how your business has grown. You became a top producer, had your best year ever in 2024. Like, there's so much to unpack here.
Yeah, so I'm actually coming from corporate America. I was in corporate America for 15 years in media. I moved to United States in 2000, so I've been in Austin, always in Austin. I've been here for 25 years. So I've been here more than I've been in Mexico. So even if I'm never gonna get rid of my accent, I feel I'm more Texas than Mexican now. So I started full on in corporate media and love it, but my husband at the time was working with builders, so I always was, you know how you, when you are with your husband, whatever that industry they are, or their partners, you learn so much from it, just from the conversations at night. You learn everything. Like, he knew everything about TV and radio, and I knew everything about real estate, so I was very intrigued and passionate. And at the same time, we got married in 2002. Our first home was a flip. Like, him and I actually move in to a scary neighborhood and a scary home, and like flip it together, and then sell it for a profit, move to the next one, and then move to do the same thing, and the same thing on the third one, until we start having kids. And it was like, okay, this is, we have to stop. Kids are in a school, and we have to go to normal life. But that's how we fell in love with real estate first. So while I was doing our my W-2, we, after we experienced with these flippings, we say, well, what are we to start acquiring rentals? And you know how, I mean, you have experience, amazing experience with lenders. They love W-2s. I would use my W-2 as the opportunity to build a portfolio with rentals, and he was managing in them, and then also doing his building and stuff, and it was a sales rep for one of the builders. So, and then in '08, I got my license. So I got my license as a part-time, like maybe a deal here and a deal there. My husband doesn't speak Spanish, so I always help with the Spanish speaking ones. And that's how I started to, okay, yeah, I kind of like this, but my job, I love it so much that I want to leave it. And I had so many benefits, and it was hard for me to leave that one. But in 2018, 19, I was like, okay, enough. So 10 years after, I've been doing it for part-time. It's like I had to do it full-time. I need to know if I really like this. And I jump in before the pandemic. So I had to deal with the pandemic and the new career and working with your husband, which is another learning curve. So yeah, it's and since then, I mean, I'm not going back. I always had in the back of my head, okay, if I don't make it here, I'm just gonna go back to my old job and beg my boss to hire me back. I have not had the need to do that.
So when you jumped in 2018, your husband had been selling real estate for how long at this point?
Probably like 10, 15 years too. Different different ways, because I think he was a realtor, and then he was a sales rep for a builder for 5 years, and then back to real estate, for like back to be an agent. So when I jumped, he was like back to be an agent for like 10 years probably.
So talk us through the dynamic there. Like, you obviously, as two individuals, you have different personalities, different skill sets, gifts, etc. But he had the experience, you're jumping in full time. So how did you marry your gifts in business alongside being married in real life in your relationship?
It was tougher than I thought. It's like we get along very well. This is gonna be fine. Like I work in teams, always have. When I was working in corporate, was a sales rep, and I had what I call job share. So it was me and another Gabriela working as a one team. So I was very experienced on delegating, dividing, knowing somebody's strength and the other weaknesses, and be able to utilize it the best way. So when I moved with Chad, I thought, okay, I know how to work. But when you work in a different personality and then you don't clock out, you just move to the living room and then to the dining and start making dinner. And then we have to talk about what's going on with our daughter and what are we going to address that. And then what about your closing and what happened with inspection? And like, it was a nonstop. And then pandemic hit and it was like, I was drowning. I was like, I need a break because I couldn't go to the office anymore to disconnect. I was like in front of my kids and my husband 24/7, talking to them 24/7. So it was way more challenging than I had anticipated to work with your husband. And I don't know if that's the same with a family member because I've not worked with my siblings or anybody else. But with the partner, it's probably like one of the biggest challenge because you have him or her in the rest of your life.
Talk us through how you worked through that, because obviously time has evolved. So 2020 rocks your world. And then 2024, when a lot of real estate professionals were struggling, ended up being your best year. So you must have found some kind of way to organize your gifts and bring them together to create harmony in order to grow this thing, right?
Yes, we kind of took time to learn each other's strength. Like I love marketing, that's my background. So I took over the role of the marketing and the social media and what I need to be doing. If we need to be doing videos, and does think he hates that. He doesn't like to be in camera, so I had to force him. He's a dual type of person, so he took a long time for me begging and begging and begging for us to bring a transaction coordinator on because he wanted to have his hands on in every single step of the way. And it's like, we cannot grow. So he kind of let it go a little bit on that side. And I think I let it go a little bit and decide that I wanted to. I'm like a go 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 go. Let's do that. Let's sign up for this. Let's be in that magazine. Let's do that. Like I wanted to do everything, and because I was new to the business, I wanted to experiment with everything. And it's like, no, let's take it slow. We actually had that experience with our side investments when rentals. We've been doing it very slow and steady acquiring property. So he is very like that. It's like I'm not gonna sprint. This is a slow marathon. We are gonna be in this business for a while. We don't need to be rich. We don't need to be top producers of the. Let's take it slow. So I had to calm down myself, and I think he kind of like, okay, I'll do the transaction coordinator thing, and I'll do. So it's been a little take and give, like of what I know is he's fine with it and what I'm fine with it. But and then we also have different type of things. So we have our own clients, and then we have clients that work in common. So when we work in common, we already know who is doing what. Like I'm doing all the repairs, staging, like I'm making sure the house is ready. I can working with the contractors, like, and he's very good at paperwork and documents and making sure compliance is on time and like all that. So we kind of on those deals that we work really together, we have found our groove
So then do you market yourselves as individuals or as a team?
as a team. And then I do have this Spanish podcast. I mean, Real Estate Talks is fully Spanish. So I do have a lot of videos in Spanish. So we attract Hispanics. And I mean, in Texas, a lot of the Hispanics are bilingual. So they don't care if they work in English or Spanish most of the conversation. So it's kind of like a bilingual thing, but I also use my Spanish a lot. So it's Texas. So it's like
Yeah.
everybody's like my marriage.
I love it. So when you came along and you decided to bring some innovation to the marketing and the videos and all this, Talk us through the strategy that you found to be effective for you as a marketing strategy when you started to like really put yourselves on the map.
I think social, and that was one of the reasons why I left media, because the mediums I was selling, it was a traditional TV and radio. So I was seeing what was everything moving through social media and YouTube and all that. And even before I left, we were selling social media within the channels that we had, and the like anchors and like the endorsements before were called ambassadors, before they called influencers. So I kind of knew that. And again, it's my background. So I mean, marketing, it doesn't matter what you are. Like, you have to be a marketing person or a marketing brain, and then whatever you are, like a marketing brain, and then a lawyer, a marketing brain, and then an agent, a marketing brain. And because even lawyers and doctors, they put in videos out there right now, they trying to find this connection with their audience. So agents, we probably were one of the first ones who were putting ourselves out there, because they were more like happy go-getters and they didn't care much. For a lawyer, it might be harder to put themselves in camera, but nowadays you have every single industry doing it. So videos was the first
Yep.
one. Facebook a lot. We push Facebook a lot because he is heavily Facebook and more Instagram. So it's like, let's find your people where you are. So we did a lot of Facebook, and then we did the Instagram thing. Then I started my podcast, and those videos were also used for that. So I don't think it's like one thing. Again, I like to do all, and sometimes that's my biggest weakness, that I want to do a little bit of everything. But I see my future client or my future customer, the person I want to work with, as myself. I'm in everything. Like, I watch the video if I need to learn something on YouTube. I see Instagram. If I need to connect with family members, I go to Facebook. Like, it's just different things for different, LinkedIn. So we're trying to cover all the aspects of marketing.
It's so interesting because yeah, just yesterday on one of our group coaching calls, we did a deep dive on the importance of your personal brand. And your personal brand is your reputation. And I was telling them that I had somebody follow me on Instagram and send me a message about connecting, about coaching or whatever. And I went to their Instagram feed and I could only find still images of houses and pictures of the person. It was like, but where are you?
Who are you? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I want to figure
The
out if we're,
voice. Mhm.
yeah. And I want to know your energy and I want to know your personality and I want to know if we're going to be a match. And it's so it was a bit of a tough love call yesterday because there's still a lot of people that are in hiding right now. And I can't believe it. Like, if someone's listening right now, this is your tough love. Is like, you got to stop being a secret agent, because the first thing people do when they're referred to you is they look to find you. And what a gift for someone to find me online and decide they don't like me. And I never have to have that uncomfortable experience of having them tell me they've chosen somebody else. Like, why would I, if someone's going to shop around, why not let them shop around online? Then by the time they call you, they are ready to go. Like, they're excited to work with you because they've gotten to know you a little bit online, right?
Totally, totally. Yeah, well, that was one of my things that I always talk to Chad about it, because like, we have a lake house and he loves the lake. And we have helped a lot of neighbors find lake property, because they have seen that we are at the lake all the time, that we like to spend time in the lake. He's always fixing things at the lake. And he's like, I wanted to record him fixing the sprinkler system and fishing. It's like, I don't want people to think that I'm always like in a vacation mode, like, I don't want people to think that it's like, well, you're going to attract the people that don't care about those things, that they're not going to judge you because you're going to show a house with a hat instead of a suit. You want to attract the people that will be like you. And same thing with me. Like, I always have this insecurity about my accent. So it took me forever to do my first English video. I was doing a lot on Spanish and I didn't have a problem with that. But when I moved to English, I was like, oh my God, I cannot pronounce that. And even, these caption things, it was a struggle because they never understand what I was saying. So I had to redo everything myself. And it was like, oh my God, if the AI is not understanding me, you think people out there are gonna understand me? But anyway, so it was like, okay, I have to understand. and it was a brainwash. I have to understand that the people that I want to attract is the people that don't care that I have an accent. They know that they know that I'm not knowledgeable. Probably they also have Hispanic culture or immigrants background. It doesn't have to be Hispanic. It's a lot of Indian because we are very tech heavy in Austin. A lot of Asian people moving to Austin, and they becoming our clients because they kind of see how I live two worlds, you know. So even though for them it's not Spanish, it's something else. For some reason, I'm attracting them, which I thought I would never attract that clientele. You know, they would never pick somebody with me. You know, so it is hard to overcome your insecurities, but when you really realize that, as you say, you're just filtering with your clients in the first, like you are saving yourself a lot of calls that are not going to go anywhere or a lot of meetings, and then you end up with the clients that you want to attract.
There's a couple things you said there that I want to acknowledge. Number one, I appreciate your honesty that you share about the insecurity that you felt before you started putting yourself out there. And I think that's what's so important is that as as someone who's scrolling social media and you see somebody else's content, we all have this perception that it's easy for them. And it must be nice for them because they must be more confident than me. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, there's nobody that we admire it doesn't experience fear. The only difference is that you're seeing the byproduct of them taking action with fear. Like they did it with fear, not waiting for fear to go away, but like bringing fear along for the ride and then they do it anyway. And also, I used to always share these screenshots of my attempts at doing video because it's like you're seeing my 27th take. The
Exactly.
26 attempts before the one that you saw usually ended with like a curse word at the end because I'm just like, I think I've got it. And then I'm like, bleep, bleep.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
So
they get the final product and they say, "Oh, she's a natural. Is like, no, you just do the same thing over and over until you get it right. Oh, actually, you never get it right. You know, you always feel like you're messing up because we're the worst critics to ourselves.
yeah,
Even if that the 20th take, you think you will criticize it, but you
yep.
push post just because it's like, okay, whatever, post. But I know I can get it better, you know, and then you just start working. The podcast helped me a lot because the podcast is like when you interviewing other people, you are so into their conversation that you are not even care about what is like it's a camera or it's a voice out there. And then that is like, okay, it's the same thing. I just have to practice. And just as I saw her talking about her life and her case and her client, I just have to start doing the same thing. So that kind of helped. But I had the idea to do the podcast as soon as I left my job. I was like, I'm gonna do a podcast in Spanish because the community in Austin needs it. They need to learn about how to invest in real estate. That was 2020. It was early 2029. I reached out to the person who was going to help me. Like I had everything prepared. I'll do it later. It kept popping up in my goal, you know, the goal thing you do every year with the pictures and everything. Put it over there every year for 3 years. It took me 3 years to say, okay, that's it. I'm gonna do it this year. If I don't do it this year, I'm gonna give you kids like $500 each if I don't do it. So I'm gonna do it. And so it was from that moment, your idea to do it, it takes a lot of time and a lot of like, no, maybe not. Maybe that's not gonna work. Oh, I cannot find a good name. Oh, I cannot find a studio. It is too expensive. It's endless.
Yeah. And the other word that you said earlier about the filtering is like we've actually we had somebody come on to one of our community calls that has also been on the podcast talking about the power of podcasting for your personal brand and that people are working with your personal brand is just you. It's who you are, your
Mhm.
personality, your interest, your reputation, all these things. And the podcast is just such a wonderful way to connect intimately with your audience in a way where you can be very unfiltered because it is unscripted. We're just two people having a conversation like talking shop over a cup of coffee, right? There's
Mhm.
no script here. We're just talking. And so it's unfiltered. And what I've been learning is that early on in my career, I know that I was trying to fit the mold. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to wear the right things and say the right things and follow the plan and follow the script. And as a result, I always felt a little bit inauthentic and out of alignment. And I was a magnet for, just inconsistency and I don't know, clients that maybe weren't the right fit for me or whatever. And what I've learned around this idea of like being more unfiltered is that all
Yes.
of us are a magnet. Whatever we are sort of radiating or projecting out into our community, into the universe, into the social media, whatever, is going to magnetize a match for what we're putting out there. So if we're presenting ourselves through a persona that we think we're supposed to be, it
Mm-hmm.
makes it really hard. Everything feels hard. But if we have the audacity to be unfiltered, to be unapologetic and authentic, and like your husband wearing the baseball cap, or you with your accent, like what you're talking about, in the end, when you sort of project yourself out there without a filter, things just become easier, more interesting because the people that find you, they love you. They love you.
Exactly.
And by the way, they refer you. They don't refer your job title. They refer you because of who you
Mm-hmm.
are. And so I think that the listeners can take a page from this to recognize that we don't have to be like someone we're not. We just need to be more of who we already are. And we have to start having that, that audacity to put ourselves out there in order to be found and to let the people that are the right fit for our personality and our energy fall in love with us, right? Before we ever get the phone call, because that's the honestly the most enjoyable way to be in business is to be who we already are and to serve from the heart that we have and not from the persona that we think we're supposed to be.
And it's easier, and no, it doesn't feel like work anymore, because you're just being yourself. And along the way, you learn that because poor my husband, poor Chad, I have put him through so many programs and things and marketing strategies that he's like, oh, every time I bring something to the table, he's like, what are you, how am I gonna dress now for that video that you have an idea for? But I remember there were some things that we did that it wasn't a good fit, some of those videos with a green screen and like if you're thinking about buying a house, and there are some successful people out there doing it. So that was my take. It's like, oh, they doing it. I want to do it like that. Or, let's experiment. And it's two people, so it will be good for you and I. And let's do it. And we did it. We spent a lot of time and money and takes. And then the product came out, and it felt that unease, like that is not even me. I don't even talk like that, like I'm so like, like from a script type of thing. But okay, let's post it. Even those I posted them, and then we had a conversation in chess. Like, I'm sorry, but I hate them. That's not me. And it's like, you know what? Yeah, it kind of hurts to say, okay, I spent all that time and all that money to figure out that's not me, but it is part of it. To do okay, but that probably just a phone in a selfie or me recording you fixing the AC from one of the rentals and explaining people might work out, and that feels more us. So you kind of learn who you are throughout experimenting and messing up.
Yeah. Well, also, all of this is so powerful to share with anybody listening. I have been reading a book called Wealthy and Well Known by Rory and AJ Vaden. They're a married couple. And this book just came out in 2025. And it's all about, building your personal brand. And one of the things that they say is that all the parts of my past are important and not to be forgotten or dismissed, as they've helped shape me into the person I am today, but some are no longer relevant to who I am. And the goal with your personal brand is to help someone who is somewhere you once were. So,
Mm-hmm.
meaning if you're going to help people buy their first home because you once remember buying your first home, and maybe you were worried and you were insecure and you were scared, and because you remember that feeling, the challenges you faced in buying your first home, you're very equipped to serve someone going through that because you can relate to that. Or maybe it was when you started buying investment properties and now you're passionate about helping others invest in real estate. And so because you remember the mistakes that you've made, you can help others avoid your mistakes. And so all we're doing is we're taking our experience and we're not judging the things that we did wrong, right? Or the mistakes that we made. We're using that to help somebody else. And that becomes the brand, like your service to others from a place of truth is what you've experienced becomes what you can help others do or avoid.
Exactly. Yeah, and as you mentioned, same with investments because we have clients, we have, I think it's half and half. Half are investors, half of like homeowners who are just buying their second, first or second home or their lake home. But the investors, I think the way or the reason why we is when they also learn from us either by a referral or in social media, but they see us as investing like we are hands-on, like we know. And then we haven't been afraid to talk about the one house that we bought that we shouldn't bought. So like when you are honest with them and stop trying to say, oh, I'm this successful person with this portfolio and this many rental homes and these many mistakes. I mean, like if you show them you've done mistakes along the way and big ones and costly ones, and still believe in the industry and believe in real estate as wealth and what is it called, like patrimonio for your family. I think honestly you can read honesty, you know, and you attract more people by being honest. They are like, well, you're like that even with all your mistakes, you are like that. Even with that mistake you still believing in it. Might as well, even if I'm have a mistake, I will do the right decision. So I don't know. I feel like it's when you open and you really are not afraid to say it. And now it's hard to do it when you have a video in front of you or a camera in front of you because you have always that like, oh, they're gonna think that I'm a failure. You know, they're gonna think that I didn't do that right and I wasn't smart enough to. But we all may. I mean, that's real estate or any industry. I mean, you cannot have 10 homes and 10 homes being a win. It's always
Yeah.
gonna be something.
Yeah, 100%. So what's on the horizon for you now? Because it sounds like you're someone who's always learning, always creating and innovating. So what are you excited about now as the future of your real estate business expands?
So we will continue to do the podcast. That's another thing that you always like. You know how hard it is. You know, it's a lot of work and finding the right guests. We ours is mostly in Spanish, but we also have English speaking people because it's hard to find those experts in specific niches. But we also are thinking about partnering with a company who is very successful in subject to. So we might go more into the subject to world and helping people learn about subject to and how to invest. But I always say realtor is my like it's my day job. I always have something going on in the side. Yeah, we will continue to serve clients and continue to attract clients and help them. I feel like now because we are in the stages of becoming empty nesters, we are attracting more empty nesters and because we feel their pains and their needs and everything. So that's probably one of our goals on the realtor side.
I love it. Well, I love all of the things you shared today because I feel like the honesty is so empowering for someone listening who's maybe been feeling a little bit bashful or worried about what people think. It's like, you know what? Your cheerleaders are always rooting for you. So continue to be yourself and put yourself out there because you're a match for your people and you'll be a magnet for them the more visible you become and the more unfiltered you become. So I love how you've continued to put yourself out there and grow and expand and innovate. And I just appreciate you sharing your story today, Gabby.
No, and thank you, and thank you for allowing me to share it here with you.
And to all my listeners out there, thank you as always for tuning in. You know how much I appreciate you being here. If it was your first time here, make sure to go back and binge all the old episodes. And if you find additional value, please be sure to subscribe, share the episode if you know someone needs to hear this message, and be sure to leave that 5-star review because it helps us continue to attract amazing guests like Gabby and help this content get found so more people can build a life you don't need a vacation from. I love you. I appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.